think most of the time when we start dealing with the human condition, if we're going to start making absolute positions like you should never ever spank a kid or you should only ever do positive affirmation or positive discipline with kids, I feel like you're always going to run into problems because of the fact that the human condition is so very, very different, right? Like we recognize that there, it's just human beings are so vast and so disparate that the idea that we'll just have a single solution for children, it just sounds crazy to me. What I will say is I think that the idea is in general that spanking should be something that's done only in extreme situations and when you've exhausted like pretty much every other option. And even then, I think it needs to be very, very controlled. It should never be done from a place of anger whatsoever. It should obviously be done at a minimal level, considering the fact that this has to be an absolute last resort. Maybe in situations in which a child is fully able to understand what exactly they were not supposed to do, and they're doing some really strange or really strong deviation from reasonable expectations of what their actions should be. In those cases, maybe then it might be appropriate to spank a child if something is incredibly egregious and incredibly harmful and it's something that you really feel necessary that this point needs to be driven home immediately. But again, that's so extreme that this should not be the norm. I do believe that communication is an incredibly important thing. I mean, there's God knows how many tests about that. I did read some scholar. I did do some like light reading on it, and one of the things that I took away is it said that exclusively positive parenting needs to be supported by research, including randomized trials with oppositional defiant children before being accepted as definitive. And I do think that that makes sense. Like the idea that we would try to say there's some sort of consensus that that supports the idea that positive only rearing of your children is going to be definitively the best thing for them in all cases. I just don't think that there's any. I don't think most researchers would ever make a claim like that. I think spanking and regarding this kid in the grocery store, it's so insane to me that someone would be trying to make the argument, oh, this is just you're making up absurd hypotheticals. In my 2 relationships ago, I was in a situation where there was a kid and he wanted a freaking lollipop and he was acting a dang fool and he started crying and screaming and I'm embarrassed as hell. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, wait, I know you're not letting your kid act up like this. And she did. And I'm sitting there like, what? These are the things that we've always said in black circles, supposedly about white kids. This is a very black child, by the way, that was acting the same dang way and it was problem freaking matic. The idea that these things doesn't happen. One of my brothers worked in a grocery store. Literally, we have so many funny stories about kids acting a dang fool, literally walking past an aisle with his arm out, knocking everything off of the aisle while his parents couldn't control him. So like this is not something that's unheard of. Like this is like please, if you're gonna genuinely engage with this, like be honest. These are
That
realistic
wasn't the
situations.
hypothetical given.